Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have another Gunner Heat PC video. And today I am finally doing it, a gunnery guide for the M1IP. Now while I'm driving to the range here, I'm going to do some quick plugins for Gunner Heat PC. Links in the video description to their Patreon and to their website. Check out their information. They could always use more support. It helps with the development process and obviously increases the amount of development that can be done to the game. Anyway, let's roll up to the range here. And also, other things, don't forget, if you like the video, please like the video. Also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Gunner Heat PC content from me, because, well, there's going to be more videos on the way. Different types of guide videos, etc. But we're about ready to roll up to the range here, and I'm going all the way over here because, well, there are some things I plan on showing later. Just going to go over the basics of how to use the tank and the optics. Now, the optics you can access by hitting the shift key, and right now I am just scanning, showing you that the optics works. Zoom in with mouse wheel, laze with E, left mouse button fires. Pretty simple. Now, there's a couple things to note here. There is two different types of ammos, and I forgot to note this as well in my Gunner Heat PC guide of the M60A3. When you switch ammos, you need to relays so it changes what type of ammo you're using in the ballistic computer, in the fire control system. Now, one thing I'm showing here is the sight does change, and that's because as you're holding the palm switches, which is the right mouse button, which is the same mouse button to traverse your turret, it continuously updates after you hit the E key to laze. Once you laze, it will constantly update what your turret is doing and your movement in the ballistic computer itself. Now, once you release the right mouse button, you let go of the palm switches, and the gunnery sight automatically snaps back to the middle of the screen. That's because it is no longer updating in the ballistics computer, and what the ballistics computer information says is the turret has stopped. This is so that way you can encounter targets that were moving and suddenly had stopped, and all you have to do is release the palm switches and the ballistic computer will take over for that. Now I'm just showing you the thermal optics here. Once again, I've talked about it many times before. Thermal optics has an advantage over night optics. Thermal optics allows you to engage targets at night as well as the daytime, and actually they're really good for finding targets in the daytime because they pick up heat. As you can see, the target cheese is showing up very well in my thermal sight, and that's because the target cheese has the sun beating on it and it is hot. Same way with the dead tanks, although they're not showing up as hot as the target cheese is. But it's really good for finding targets that's actually hiding in trees and etc., because the heat from the target will be showing, I don't want to say through the trees, but it's easier to see that heat pattern when there's a lot of trees. Now all you have to do, like I said, once again, is hit the E key and you can gauge targets. Now there's one thing the M1IP can do, well, any Abrams tank can do, over the M60. Now the Leopard can do this as well. If I recall, it does have a ballistics computer that allows for firing on the move. This ballistics computer is tied into the automotive of the tank, so it knows how fast I'm moving. That being said, the slower the better, but you can still book out a pretty good clip and still engage targets. I've engaged targets and hit with the first shot in third gear, folks, and the Abrams has 4 gears. So as you can see, I'm just, just trying to keep my gunnery sight on the target, and then I hit the E key to get the range, and I can fire, and I should hit the target as long as I'm not total shit. This is something that can be practiced quite often. That's what the proving ground is great for. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is I'm not actually using the AWDS keys to do that. I was actually using the cruise control. The cruise control can be engaged by increasing your speed with the numpad plus key, or to slow it down, the numpad minus key. Now, from what I could tell, I could not go in reverse doing that. I tried to, and it was not working out for me. Not sure. It might be an operator error thing over game not being programmed into the game. And then I made a sudden stop there and fired at the target and hit. And that's, once again, just to show you that the fire control system is constantly updating as long as I'm holding the palm switches after tapping the E key. Now, once I stop and I get myself back into position, I tap my E key, get a laze, and I'm on target. Now, the next thing I want to point out that I missed is there's a little square indicator there by the range, and I've completely forgot to mention this until right now. So the numbers is the range. The numbers in the middle of the screen. They always remain in the middle of the screen. That little square, though, by the numbers, that is a firing indicator. Now, there's two ways to know that the gun is ready to fire. One is a firing indicator. When you fire the gun, that disappears. When the gun's ready to fire, it reappears on the screen. Next is an audible, which is not programmed in the game yet. And what would happen is there's a safety lever on the breech block, or more or less a breech loading lever. Once you load the shell in, the loader has to pull that lever up, and the audible command for that is up as loud as you can. That way they can hear you over the rest of the vehicle itself. You're not using the radio headset to do that. You're just yelling that as loud as you can, so that way the gunner can hear that the gun is ready to fire. And even if he can't hear that you're ready to fire, he still has the firing indicator in the lower part of his screen. Now, I did show the gunner, the coaxial. Sorry, the video is actually going a little long. The coaxial is not tied into this gunnery sight. The proper gunnery sight for the coaxial has not been programmed in the game yet. So I'm going to end up revisiting the M1IP gunnery guide down the road. But this is what we have to work with right now. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video and learned something about how to use the M1IP gunnery system. Thank you once again for watching, and have yourself a wonderful week.